Okay, what was this movie? I went in with like the lowest of expectations and still came out disappointed. This tried to be a sci-fi drama and literally just failed at it. It forgot to be the title of its name. Fant4stic. Let's discuss. After the campy, cheesy Fantastic Fours with Jessica Alba, Fox tried to go a different route, a different tone. I guess that's what they all were doing around that time. And it tried to go for a darker, more dramatic feel to the characters, and it just came out so weird and wrong. It took out every element of it that was supposed to be a superhero film and just completely was just... It tried to be Chronicle but failed. This movie starts off as, like, it seems like it's really trying to be like Interstellar and like Chronicle. And then after some time it switches to just a complete fight scene from like nowhere. It's wild. The movie focuses too heavily on the origin. It expands on the actual Ultimate Universe origin of them being younger and going into an alternate universe instead of, going into space like the original movies. It leans too hard on the origin that you kind of forget what movie you're actually watching. It really doesn't feel like a comic book movie. They skip the training montage. You don't even get actual like character development, character bonds between them. It takes so long to really speed up, and then once you get caught up, it turns into they work for the government. So it's just, you wouldn't expect much from the group to be like that, but it just turns into this them working for the government. They get powers, and then they're just government property. We don't see the progression. We don't see how we get from point A to point B. It just goes from point A, and then it skips steps, and we're already in like point G. You get Miles Teller, Michael B. Jordan, Mara, and Jamie Bell. But there's no chemistry, no connection. This is Marvel's first family, but they don't even feel like they're friends. Everything's just so detached and just so forced in this movie. It just falls flat. Like everything in this movie just completely just falls flat. And I have to apologize for how I treated Victor Von Doom from the original franchise, because this was terrible. You barely see him as Doom. You don't get anything from him. His motives, dumb, just everything. He just looks like something from a rave that has no ulterior motives. Like, his purpose in this movie is so pointless and it's so dumb. I don't even know where to start with this. They turned him into some Reddit poster that's just glowing green with no motives or anything. He's kind of just there, and they talk about his intellect. And you're telling me that this movie has, no connection with the villain. There's multiple villains in here, but their name... I'll get to that. But with Doom, he's in this movie like as Doom for like 5 minutes. So much time is wasted in this movie on nothingness, and then you get to Doom and it's just worse nothingness than before. This movie would have worked because this movie had potential to work. And it depends on your perspective. Because if this movie could have worked if this was a no-name action sci-fi movie with like no connections to any comic books, just some random movie that you'll see on the Sci-Fi Network, it would have worked as that. It would, because it's a good sci-fi movie. It gets dark, especially with how this movie establishes their powers at the beginning when they get their powers. They make this whole 10-15 minute moment of all 4 of them getting their powers into a straight horror movie. They just, so much with it, it was just so dark, so grim. They were really turning the knob on this. The movie had potential. The horror elements in this movie, interesting. I liked it if you just forget you're watching a Fantastic Four movie. The horror elements was good. The CGI was honestly very, very questionable, and I get it that we're a decade from when this movie came out, but I've seen CGI in older films that look better than this. Them working for the government and being used as weapons was an interesting thing to see, of how the government treats things and people of interest as items, objects. So that's really like, I think that's the only good things I can really say about it, because like none of it sticks. It seems like they had it in the first drafts and they're just like, you know what, we have other drafts, but let's just stick to this first not perfect draft. Because honestly, the movie's called Fantastic Four, but it's not fantastic.
Say that again?
You heard me. It's not fantastic. So I do feel like I really have to apologize. I was way too harsh on the first two Fantastic Four movies. Because yes, they were cheesy. Yes, they were campy. But they had heart. They had soul. It was entertaining. It was fun. This movie was just... The original trilogy is a bright, sunny day. This reboot is just sad, gloomy, hurricane, powers out. That's how I feel about this movie. At the end of the day, this movie had a stacked cast, had an interesting premise, and it had potential to be something. But it plays like it plays more like a rough draft of a sci-fi movie rather than a superhero film. So like, it's not the worst comic book movie in the world, because it's not Howard the Duck and it's not Jonah Hex, but this is a very frustrating movie. It's an aggravating film. So my honest rating for this film is you guys already know what to expect. This movie, the director's apologies needed. That's the rating. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not sorry. This movie was just terrible. And what makes it more funny with that rating that I gave it, the director actually did apologize. So thank you, Josh, for apologizing for making this movie. Granted, it's not his fault. The Fox Studios butchered this. I'm curious to see what his actual ideas for this movie was. But for the movie that Fox gave us, this was terrible. This was bad. I don't hate that this movie exists, but I do wish that someone in that boardroom could have been like, hey, interesting sci-fi movie, let's not call it Fantastic Four. Because honestly, like I said, if this wasn't a Fantastic Four movie, this would have been somewhat entertaining for a sci-fi movie. But hey, maybe you guys saw something that I didn't, so if you guys want to, go down to the comments. Comment below. Did you like the 2005 one, the 2007 one, or this 2015 one? Or in the comments, you guys can actually drop down your ratings, your rankings of where you put these in placement of best to absolute worst. I pray the 2015 one is at the end. If it's not, please let's discuss this. But for you guys that are watching, please stay locked in, because in a few days I'm seeing the 2025 Fantastic Four movie, and that review should be coming out soon. And I'm hoping that it's good. But either way, if it's good or bad, I have a lot to say about it. So if you like my vibe, like this video, comment below, and subscribe. And my name is James Hancock, signing off.